All right, so thank you guys so much for coming. This is our first Wodify Roadshow event, bringing gym owners together to share their knowledge, learn from each other, and really for you guys to share your insight and experience from having been there and having started gyms with other folks in the industry. So first of all, just thanks to Elite Wellness for hosting us. Your beautiful Heathrow location. We've been here, we were here yesterday, today. It's been awesome hanging out with all you guys. To start, I'm actually going to go through and just have each of you do like a 30-second intro, and then we're going to, just go from there. So John, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I'm John from Wodify. I'm one of our sales representatives, and I've also had plenty of time in the gym industry working, coaching, managing gyms through the last few years.
And actually one other, so name, which you nailed, brief background, and then why don't you do like a favorite, for you guys, like a favorite member story, and for you either favorite member, favorite customer, favorite CrossFit story.
Yeah, well, I don't have like a favorite customer story because I don't have favorite customers. I love them all. No, like in the beginning from like going to like regional events, I was always like, I don't think I had a name in like the first year. I was just Wodify. Like they assumed that was me. And like that was always great. Like, yo, Wodify, like, come here. I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? And they're like, I have a gym. I'm like, great. But that'd be it.
Nice.
My name is Brent. I am the owner of CrossFit Black Hive in Jacksonville, Florida. We started out with one location in Jacksonville Beach. We have since, over the last 5 years, grown to 5 locations. We actually just started our 5th location about 3 weeks ago. One of my favorite stories is probably the first month we were open in Jax Beach. I had a guy named George Jarvis come in and join. He walks up smoking a cigarette, drinking a coffee, wanted to know what CrossFit was. I was all alone in the gym because no one was working out at the 6 a.m. And he's been with me for 5 years, and I was pretty damn sure he was gonna quit the first workout. But he's only smoking 1 or 2 cigarettes a day. I think he drinks his face off with coffee, but yeah, he's probably one of my favorite guys at the gym.
My name's Elizabeth Priest. I'm one of the owners here at Elite Wellness. One of my favorite stories about members is, I mean, so many different stories, but like when they get their first box jump or their first double under, or when a member sets a goal to lose a certain amount of weight and they reach that goal, the before and afters of their transformation stories. Those are some of my favorite.
And I'm Marty Priest, also the founder of Elite Wellness. Currently we have 4 locations around Central Florida and an online program called EW.fit for daily remote programming. Like Elizabeth, my favorite stories are members and team members who achieve goals they set, whether it be, like Elizabeth said, the box jump or running farther, longer, getting a PR, maybe a marathon or a half marathon, whatever it might be. We focus on people's health, so health stories are also very important. So it might be getting off medication or whatever it is, but living longer, more productive, healthier lives. Those are always the fun ones.
Yeah, awesome. And moving into, so you kind of mentioned like today you just opened your 5th location, you guys have 4 locations, online programming, but you all have really interesting stories of how it started out. So going back to those early days, maybe starting with Marty and Elizabeth, can you talk about how you got into this originally and what that looked like early on?
Yeah, so we were part of a CrossFit gym, and we enjoyed it so much that we ended up taking a whole summer to travel to all different CrossFits. We had decided we wanted to open one, so we wanted to see what other CrossFits were doing because we had only known the one we were at. And the cool thing about CrossFit is you can do whatever you want in your CrossFit gym. There's not a whole lot of rules as far as how you have to do certain stuff. So what we ended up doing was travel the whole summer. We took like the best of what we liked and left the worst out, but we started on our back patio. So I trained some of my girlfriends, and then once we started to break travertine and things were falling in our pool, we ended up getting a warehouse while we were building this facility here. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I mean, the real reason we started is because Elizabeth told me I was fat. Which is a true story. Right. So essentially, I was traveling a lot for work. I've worked in the enterprise technology space for over 15 years, and I had gained a large amount of weight. So she knew that I wasn't going to go to a traditional gym. I would get bored or I would just end up playing basketball and not really doing anything to get in better physical condition. So she researched and found a local CrossFit gym, and we fell in love with it. We fell in love with the methodology, and then, you know, opened up our own facility, and now with 4, and with a goal of helping as many people as we can through functional fitness.
And yeah, Brent, you also come from like a background where you had a full-time job. You still have a full-time job, own another business. How did you get off the ground early?
Yeah, so I started out just working out at regular like Gold's Gym, kind of just doing my thing. A buddy of mine asked me to go to CrossFit. I went to a CrossFit gym. I didn't really fall in love with it. I thought it was kind of terrible, and I felt like I got made fun of a lot because I was a very meathead looking kind of guy. Everybody assumed I could lift heavy and do all this stuff because I just looked that way. But it was quite the opposite. I was the least mobile guy. I couldn't clean anything. And so I started doing that. And about a year after doing CrossFit at my buddy's gym, I own a roofing company and just kind of got tired of my day-to-day grind in roofing and construction. So we kind of decided one day just on a whim, it was like, this sucks. And I want to do something that I love doing, because everyone says that if you do what you love every day of your life, you never truly work. And so I was like, I'm going to chase this and see what happens and try to help other people do what I do, and just help people live healthy lifestyles. So
nice. That's awesome. And John, slightly different question, but how did you kind of get involved with Wodify, CrossFit industry, fitness in general?
Yeah, so I got involved with CrossFit because I would always ask a friend about workout programs, and he'd give me like something to follow, and then like 12 weeks later I was like, okay, what can I do now? And then he's like, you know what, just go to this website, and he sent me to CrossFit.com. He's like, the workout will change every single day. You won't have to ask me anymore. And that was back in like 2009, and was following it since. Before Wodify, I was a teacher, and one of my things and initiatives in education was actually bringing fitness into like traditional elementary school. So I did that for a bit, about 4 years before I started Wodify. That's what really got me into coaching, was actually just, originally I wanted to be kid-specific coach, and then did education, and then Wodify started. Being friends with Amit, our founder, he's like, I need somebody like you to sell the product, because I'm not somebody who's like as into it as you were.
Yeah.
And then that was 6.5 years ago.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's stay in those early days for now. And a lot of people who maybe want to open a gym or are opening a gym, the first year or two might be the hardest. You know, you're just figuring everything out, both operationally, financially, trying to get new members. What do you guys think was the best decision you made in the first year when you were starting out? Brent, we can start down here with you this time.
I think, I don't think I made any good decisions, honestly. I bought the shittiest equipment because it was cheap and I had no money. I had no advertising dollars. So basically I just gave everyone a free membership and said, just come and work out. Like, I need people here to look like they're here working out, so that I can sell other people this membership that I really wasn't selling. And I was just way over leveraged financially. I really can't say a good decision I made my first year.
But you learned a lot, though.
I did work out for at least 1 hour a day. That was my thing. I did live by what I was selling. I believed in the program. I believed in what I was doing, and I did it. And so, yeah, the first year was tough, but ultimately, I think the biggest thing was I learned from my mistakes the first year.
Right. I think for us, our vision and our plan was to build a retail space, right? A super high-end showers, towel service, multiple programs, smoothie bar type facility, which you're in now. And the best decision we made was to not start inside of that. We started on our back patio, we went to a warehouse, we learned a ton. So this was 6-7 years ago, so our vision was, hey, eventually people are gonna want those amenities, and CrossFits were popping up everywhere in warehouses, so we were like, well, let's get out of that space eventually. But we made so many mistakes when we opened. I mean, we hired people at too higher rates. We had too many classes. I mean, we were offering 8-10 classes a day pre-open. We bought all the nicest equipment actually which we didn't need. When we outfitted a warehouse, like it was a multi-million-dollar facility. It was awesome, but financially we got pretty overwhelmed by the costs early on. Instead of building it and buying things as we had the money, we had investments, so we were just buying things truly we didn't need. So I would say start small and limit your financial risk to the extent that you can while you learn, because you're going to learn so much in your first couple of years. I mean, what you think you're going to do is probably not what you'll end up doing in a couple of years. And frankly, we're still learning. I mean, we learn every day.
Yeah. Great. And we'll get to some more programming stuff. But first, John, bit of a different perspective, but talking to thousands of gym owners at this point. Sometimes you have conversations with folks who just have the idea they want to start a gym or are about to open, but like pre-opening, running a gym, what are some of the biggest hurdles you see people needing to overcome, or maybe blind spots that they have?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on where you are at in that gym opening stage. Like the early on people don't realize what it takes to actually get a lease locked down in an actual space, and like zoning laws are not the easiest to go by. That's always a hurdle. And then another thing is I see people go into it without at least a plan for like I always say like day -30 to day 30. So like 30 days before you open, and then that first 30 days, like at least having some sort of structure. Like I'll talk to people and be like, well, are you gonna pre-sell memberships? Like before you open, like generate some early revenue. And they're like, huh, well, we never even thought of something like that. I was like, well, now's your chance, because you're in a spot where you can do that. But even things like that, it's having that initial plan to at least get you to the doors open and at least know what you're doing for the beginning part of the business.
Yeah, I personally think people should work in the business for at least a couple years. I mean, the great thing about the CrossFit business is you need an L1 and you can open, right? But that is also its biggest downfall, is that you need an L1 and you can literally buy $30,000 in equipment or less, and you now are operating a business. And I don't truly believe that most gym owners know what that means. Like, what does it mean to operate an entity and have other people potentially living off of that business? Now you're feeding other people's families. And that's a big responsibility that no one should take lightly. And, you know, little things like permitting, like you mentioned, zoning, payroll, like who's doing your payroll, QuickBooks, financials, whatever it might be, like, it's not just about the daily workout. Like, that's what the customers see, but there's a whole lot more to it that owners really need to understand. And I do think they should have to spend some time truly understanding the business side of fitness first.
And that's where Wodify comes in, because using Wodify helps any CrossFit gym, you know, structure, helps with programming, the back office. So that's one of the best parts of having a system. Some people don't even know to get a system.
Awesome. All right, so now we'll shift to years maybe 1 to 3 or so. The theme of this being about gym growth. If you think, you know, all right, you've got your gym up and running, you were, like you said, making a million mistakes, kind of get your feet under you. I know a lot of the gym owners that I talk to, their top priority is still like growth. How do I get more members? How do I market my gym? Have you guys, and you know, that's never like a, you know, you might never cross that finish line, but is there something you found to be your strongest like marketing channel or source of new membership growth, whether it's advertising or referrals or word of mouth? Brent, maybe we'll start with you.
So I think with our program, simplification has been a big part of that, and figuring out what our demographic is. So when I first opened, kind of, I had the plan, I had the idea, I had the vision, and I wanted to basically have a gym where people went to regionals and had all these really awesome people working out. But what I quickly realized is that that demographic didn't necessarily create a revenue stream that was going to create a successful business. So after being in business for about a year, I realized it wasn't really about that individual. It was really about helping people who just need to get fit, who honestly didn't understand what was going on. So I started doing research on how to get in front of those people and really target what their specific issues or wants or needs are, and addressing those wants and needs in a marketing strategy so that we can get them to come through the door and see how our program could actually help them, but also keep it simple, because a lot of gyms that I've come in and taken over or have had the opportunity to become a part of their community, you just find that a lot of these programs have, you know, they have a weightlifting program, they have a CrossFit program, they have a nutrition program, they just have, you know, booty boot camp program, then they have a Fit Mom program, and ultimately the program is kind of the same, right? I mean, it's just CrossFit. We can do ab mat sit-ups, kettlebell swings, we can take the barbell away and put a wall ball in, or we can add the barbell. So simplifying things and ultimately just trying to figure out who you're actually trying to reach, and are those people around your location.
You found that audience, you craft the messaging. Sounds like social media is a big part. Would you say that's kind of the main way you reach people initially? Or
that's definitely the main way that we reach our audience. We show community. I think when we walked in, they were taking a picture of 30 or 40 people working out together. Post that. I mean, that's love, you know, that's a family. And not only that, but you know, we have a coaching program where we do coaches testimonials, and we have our coaches sit in front of a camera and they discuss why they do CrossFit. They discuss our program, why they believe in our program, why they do our program. They believe in our program. So that sends a message to our community, at least in our general region, that, you know, our coaches aren't doing whatever other program. They're not doing some magic programming. They're just doing CrossFit with CrossFit Black Hive. And it kind of gives the community an opportunity to see who our coaches are and who they're going to work with. And then again, get it on Facebook, get it on Instagram, make sure it's the right lengths and you're keeping the attention for the right amount of time, and you're getting ultimately your message to the person in as few words as humanly possible, so that hopefully they call your facility and they change their life and you have the opportunity to change their life.
And especially kind of like tactically, the video testimonials sound great, because I know Facebook especially, like video, whether it's a video ad or just an organic post, video performs really, really well and is a more personal, like you could have a picture of a transformation, but having a video of someone talking through it, you know, on Facebook, that's just so engaging.
Yeah, it really is. We found that it's changed quite a bit with video versus pictures, engaging our demographic. We see a lot more analytics where people are actually clicking and seeing the video. And that's what we ultimately want. Even if they're not clicking through to the lead generation form that we have prepared for them to easily put their information in so they can email us immediately, we see that someone's clicking on it, we see that someone's engaging with it, and that's what we want. And then once that happens, if you understand how Facebook works and how Instagram works, once you click on something, you put another boosted post, it's going to eventually get that into your feed, and hopefully it just keeps kind of trickling in, you know, kind of the French fry method, you know, one little chip at a time, you know.
And like you said, building that funnel is really big. So for Elite Wellness, you guys early on, like patio to warehouse, you were growing really fast in the warehouse. Was there something you can point to during those days that was the primary source of that growth?
Yeah, I think we just made it fun. Like a lot of times people come into CrossFits and they're intimidated. We actually developed a fit program that, I mean, it is CrossFit, but it's no barbell. And we got a lot of people to join that program because they were so intimidated by the barbell. But the cool thing is once they saw other people using the barbell, then they're like, oh, I can do that. I can do CrossFit. So I think having the two different programs helped grow our company.
I think look inward first. If you help your members, help first. Help them be successful in whatever goal that they have. They will tell others. Other people will see it, storyboard that, get it out in the marketplace. Has been super helpful. You mentioned growth. I mean, there are a lot of CrossFits in the area. And at the time, 5-6 years ago, it was really strength bias programming. I don't believe in strength bias programming as a gym, right? So we want, like with the goal of helping people achieve long-term health, we went to more of a cardio endurance style program. And it really worked for us. I mean, we grew 100 members within the first couple months. Within 9 months, we were close to 200 members and it doubled our size in the warehouse from 3,000 to 6,000 square feet. We moved to the location we're in now, and the first month added another 129 members. So, you know, we didn't do anything super special. We just ensured that our members were having fun, getting fit, and having a great time. We did almost no advertising as we opened this location. Now, this location is unique. There's 25,000 cars a day that are driving by, and it's the exact demographic of people we want inside this gym. General population, working professionals, or stay-at-home folks that want to come, get away, and really make this the best hour of their day. So we had the right demographic, the right location, and we paid a lot of money for that. But it really has paid off bringing in the demographic that we want.
Is there any, like, I totally agree that that kind of focus on great experience for your members and good things will happen. Is there anything that you guys have in place to kind of incentivize, like a referral program, or kind of incentivize or try to even get more value out of that?
We've probably tried them all. We've tried $100 cash, literally handing that out on the floor. We've tried 50 for each person. So if you refer somebody, you get 50 bucks, and then your friend gets 50 bucks. Here's the deal. Honestly, the people don't care about that stuff. They really, really, if they love the experience, only care that their friends coming in to enjoy the experience with them. So, you know, we're moving back to, like, we're going to write a postcard, say something nice, give them a high five, give them a hug. But that's about it, because it's not about the money.
Yeah, that's been pretty much our same exact experience. We've had, actually I had 2 people sign up from an on-ramp that we did with another guy. He brought 2 of his friends in, and I was like, man, I got to hook you. He's like, I don't want anything, I'm just happy to see my friends are coming in and doing this with me. And that's pretty much exactly the same thing. And I think I mean, I don't know what your experience was on the back end of it, but it was a complete pain in the ass for me to keep up with all that stuff. Like, holy shit, I got to remember to give you 50, him 50, and I can't remember everything. So it really ultimately simplifies everything. And it kind of boils back to what you were saying, building community through loving people and just letting them share their experience of what you're able to daily provide to them.
Yeah, same experience. I mean, luckily we have a team that manages that, and I hope they do a great job. I think they do. But it's the same thing, right? Like, we've even done, like, just bring a person in, you get $5. They don't have to sign up. Like, $5 a person. Like, just bring a friend in the gym. It just that doesn't motivate someone as much as you're out to dinner with your friends, your family, and they're like, holy shit, you look great. What are you doing? And then you know they're going to talk about it forever, because that's just the way it works. And that motivates people to come in. You know, we talked about social media. The best social media we've done is just stories about our members, stories about our coaches, stories about like people that you can identify with. Just happened yesterday. We posted a member in the progress they made, Elizabeth's nutrition client. So the progress she's made through that, fitness and nutrition, she looks phenomenal.
She lost like almost 20 pounds.
Yeah, somebody clicked the link that was their friend and is coming in to do a free consult. So, like, that stuff works. And that was free. Like, it's just using social media. We didn't boost it. We didn't do anything like that. It's just free, getting that out there to their friends.
And I think the flip side of that lesson might be you can't really bribe your way to success with your members. If they're not referring members, there's probably something wrong, and you can't just up it and say, okay, we'll give you $200 if you bring in someone. Another element of kind of marketing and growth that comes up a lot is competition and kind of how you think about that. So I think in the past, 5 to 10 years, there's been a huge rise in group fitness, boutique studios. I was just looking, like, Orange Theory just hit 1,000 locations. It's talked about a lot, but there's other, it's not just Orange Theory. Boxing studios are becoming very popular. Just curious about your strategy and kind of approach to competition.
I mean, for us, I personally could care less. This isn't disparaging anyone. I could care less what the other CrossFits are doing, what Orange Theory is doing, what the other boot camps, whatever. Again, I'm focused really inward on helping our members achieve their goals. I mean, just rough math, right? We're trying to get 500 active members inside this location. That's what we want. We've been in the 4s before. We want 500 people. We're not running out of people to help get fit and healthy in this area, right? So even if Orange Theory, who's on both sides of us within 2 miles on both sides, has 300 members each, that's 600 people. Well, I've got thousands of other people that I can market to that can come in this gym. So if I do a really good job, if the team does a super good job helping people, they're involved in the community, we'll get there. And we don't have to do it through worrying about what anybody else is doing. On the flip side of that, a little bit of the dichotomy of it, like, I'm going to gamification here. So we're implementing heart rate monitoring. Why? Because people really enjoy that. Not because somebody else is doing it, but the market has said to us, I really enjoy seeing my heart rate, my calorie count, and competing, loose term, against others using that tool. But it's not because, like, somebody else did it and did it really well. It's because that's what our members want. That's what the market wants.
Yeah, I think ultimately sticking to the plan. I think that a lot of CrossFit gym owners and a lot of owners of businesses in general, they look at their competition, they're like, oh no, Orange Theory's doing this, or that box is doing that, or whatever. Stick to the plan, do what you do, and do it to the best of your ability. Stick to the plan. Don't deviate too far from the plan unless you just find it's not working, and just be the best.
Yeah, I mean, I see it most of the time. I've consulted with a few gyms that they're always like, how do we get more people in the gym? How do we get more people in the gym? I need more people in the gym. I'm like, what the hell are you gonna do if you get 30 more people in the gym tomorrow? You're gonna lose them, and you're gonna lose your current members because there's foundational things that are going wrong inside your gym. That's why you're not growing. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's setup, maybe it's programming. I don't know what it is, but the problem isn't an influx of people inside the gym. And we've tried those gimmicky programs, and they killed our retention. It was really poor on the retention side. And you're right, stick to a plan of getting consistent, steady growth through helping your team members and members be the best they can every single day.
Yeah, that's great. I think, yeah, the themes there across all of you guys was listen to the market, listen to your members, but really like your destiny's in your control, and don't try to copycat anything. Don't go after the latest trend. Do really well and kind of focus inward. So we got about 10 minutes left here, but we're gonna hit a few more topics related to growth. So talking about like money, a lot of gyms think of their revenue as membership price or average membership price times number of members, where you know, a lot of successful gyms, multi-locations might have multiple revenue streams. So can you talk briefly on what your main revenue streams are, if you have any, outside of just that monthly membership, or session membership plan?
Sure. I mean, monthly memberships is by far the greatest number for us. And then we'll look at nutrition. So nutrition programs, which frankly, we're not great at yet. We're getting better. And then it's PT, or we call it personal fit. It's semi-private, so up to 4 people. That way it's less expensive for the member, and the coach can actually make more per hour as well with 4 people in the group. So those are our main revenue lines. We do have a barbershop in our facility, so I'm not sure that everybody can do that, but the Elite Barber Club does rent space from us. So we have that as well. So if you do have space in your gym that is a really good fit, I don't suggest like bringing in a trainer, because that would seem to conflict with your business. But I do suggest that there's good things like, you know, chiropractic or barbershops or other avenues to make money as well. So those are, I mean, that's our main line. I'll tell you, we've done a really poor job with retail overall. Most of the retail is barely a break even for us. So we may do waters or other things, and it just so happens that we're just not doing phenomenal with it, but we do have good partnerships with like FitAid and Ascent and others.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I mean, ours is by far going to be the monthly membership. We do a lot of one-on-one coaching. Our on-ramp creates a tremendous amount of financial income for our coaches. And that's really, I think, been my last 2 years has been trying to figure out how to create careers, not a job or a side gig for our coaches. And to me, a career is making $80 or $90 or $100,000 a year. And so we really see it. We probably see 40 or 50% coming from one-on-one coaching, personal training, whatever you want to call it, however you want to put a name on it. But and probably 60 or 70% of that is going to be our on-ramp program, bringing people in one-on-one, creating an ecosystem inside your gym that works, like the barbershop. I mean, I would love to go in and get a straight razor. So I would definitely buy a membership just because of that.
Yeah.
Is definitely a great idea. We have chiropractors, massage therapists that will rent an office space or a small room. So that's a great way to do it. The retail, again, I think is the same thing. It's kind of, is the juice worth a squeeze? It's definitely not financially. For your members, it's definitely a good situation to, you know, give them a little bit of, you know, something that they don't have to, it's more of a convenience, as long as it's not costing you a tremendous amount. I would say if you're going to, what my plan is, and this is like the plan starting moving forward, my vision is we're going to do these retail spaces. They're going to sell t-shirts and shorts and drinks, but I'm going to put a person at the actual counter. So most gyms don't have that opportunity. So really give that some thought if that's worth hiring a full-time position versus what you're actually making. So I'm really fighting that, but.
Yeah, and we do at this location have full-time member relations, and I you know, so it's kind of covered with a little bit of retail, right? So that hourly rate can be covered there, but it's more important for us to have it be true member relations. On the retention side is really where it's the biggest bang for our buck.
Yeah. John, anything you see, like maybe revenue streams that you've seen work really well and not many gyms consider, but you've seen some gyms execute on really well?
Yeah, even speaking from my gym, so we actually do really well with events, and this actually helps more so on the jiu-jitsu and kickboxing side, and we've done it on the weightlifting, CrossFit side as well, but we typically, couple times a year, 3, 4, 5 times, host different seminars, and they're pretty big revenue gains for us, Adam. Average anywhere from 20 to, in some cases, the last jiu-jitsu seminar we ran had about 75 people at it. So at a $50 ticket, like, it definitely bumps up big time. And that was a really nice, it's a really nice additional revenue stream. We typically try to plan them around times where not necessarily a lull in the membership, but maybe like it's the slower seasons. So being a New Jersey business, we have a slow time in the summer. It's seasonal, and then we'll start to kick back up after back to school and into the new year. So like in that summer, end of fall is when we start to kick back in. We actually have a kickboxing seminar coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think, and from Wodify's standpoint, we've seen things like that, live events, competitions, whether it's just within your gym or inviting other gyms or other folks, or fitness challenges. We've actually built 3 products to serve each of those needs, but just interesting other ways gyms supplement that monthly membership revenue, which will almost always dominate, like Marty said. So one more just to wrap up, kind of end of the line growth, like you started those early days, you started growing really fast, you got operationally things down. A big jumping point for a lot of people is from location 1 to 2. Once you're managing 2 locations, you can't be there all the time anymore. It's another large financial commitment. What would be your one piece of advice to a gym owner who's doing well and says, I want that second location, I'm ready for that second location? Marty, we'll start down with you.
You have to ask yourself the question, can you be away from your gym for 90 days without anybody calling you, texting you, anything? Like literally, can you just not show up and not be involved? Because we grew from 1 to 6 in 3 years. Now we have 4. Some have been better than others. So we've failed at growing multiple locations, and we've done well on others. So just to be very clear, we kind of see both sides and get both sides of it. It's really, really hard to grow multiple gyms if you're the sole leader across all of them. You need really, really good people in place. So, today I've talked a lot about our members and helping our members, but to be very clear, our team members come first, and that's who helps us grow. They help our members and they help us grow our business because they're super happy, they love what they do, therefore translating to the members. So if you're gonna grow gyms, you have to ask yourself, am I gonna hire someone and make a big financial investment in an operator, someone that runs that gym, is there full time, is heavily incentivized to grow that business, and do I trust them to do that? Or am I gonna go do it while I leave somebody behind, so to speak, to run the location that you're leaving? And I would also just say, like, if you want to grow multiple gyms, just understand what that sacrifice, it's not, hey, I'm currently profitable at my existing location. When I grow to a second one, I'm gonna double that profit, or I'm gonna triple that profit. It doesn't work like that. There's a cost, there's an immediate cost that comes into it where you're gonna take a big dip, probably at your current location. That profit that you're making at one's probably gonna go to the other one, and you better hope you can grow it to be profitable, and both can be profitable.
Wait. So you open the door, and you don't get like 800 people walking through to give you all their money? Because that's pretty much what everyone, I think adding on to that is having a standard operating procedure for every aspect of your gym is absolutely imperative. And then finding those people, again, just everything Marty just said, and leading by example, showing them what the expectation is, but making sure that it's written somewhere, making sure that it's there and it's a tangible asset so they have something to go to. I know for our facility, one of the biggest game changers for me was I walked in and I had a coach. It was like,
hey, Brendan, make sure the gym's clean, make sure the bathrooms are clean, make sure you put the barbells up, and make sure the wall balls are up, make sure everything's good to go. Well, my version of clean and your version of clean are two probably different things, right? Like I'm OCD, I want to see all the wall balls, numbers out, everything really, really pristine. And so what I found was setting this this unachievable expectation, because I'm a complete maniac when it comes to how I want our gym set, and putting it in writing, showing pictures, illustrating what you specifically want, leading by example, and then training those people exactly the way that you do it, and showing that you're doing it in writing is imperative. And then yeah, you can ultimately leave when you know you can trust that person, when you know you have good people, you know that you feel good, that you're incentivizing them appropriately, you're giving them everything that they need. You're giving them basically the playbook, the tools to execute what you're expecting, instead of just going, I'm paying the bills, you show up, you train people, keep it clean, I'll be back in 90 days, and then come back and it's like a workout bomb went off and you're completely pissed off and you hate your life because you have to fix everything.
Yeah, I think the one thing Elizabeth sort of identified a few months ago for us, and it really has rang true, is that each location can be different. Like, we almost try to force communities to be elite wellness the way that Heathrow ran and operated, because Heathrow was awesome and we've got a lot of members here and it's really fun. Everyone should operate just like this. And it was a massive failure for us. I mean, we walked into other gyms which we would either buy or build and be like, no, you can run like that. And like the community was like, why? Like, they're just different, fundamentally different communities. And I mean, even so much as to one gym we just completely changed. We took CrossFit and Fit out of the gym and said, you guys predominantly want personal training and sports performance training. Let's go do that really, really well. And we can still be successful and profitable doing that and still help a lot of people. And that's okay that they're not doing the same programs the same way someone else is doing it. So to some degree, like for us, we don't have to be super standard across every location and almost dictators when it comes to that. We've sort of softened that up and allowing them to run and do what that specific market wants them to do.
Yeah, I mean, one time we took over a CrossFit and we tried to introduce Fit, and they were like, no, what is this? Like, we don't like this at all. We want real CrossFit. But we tried to push it and push it and push it, and that was a big mistake. We should have just been a CrossFit gym at that location. So I think that's where we're learning now, is that every gym can be a little different. It's okay.
Yeah, we've, the gym I just took over, awesome gym, awesome community. But yeah, it's good to hear that I'm not the only one who deals with that, right? Because we have a different culture. Ultimately, the culture is just different, right? I personally, as a manager in the business, I want to come in and create systems to make life what I feel like would be easier. But again, perceptively, every gym is just different. Like our South location is predominantly 25 to say 55, and they just want to be generally fit. Our Beaches location, everybody wants to be tan, jacked, six packs, and listen to reggae music while they work out. Our West location, like you could pound them in the face with hero wads every day, and they would kiss you on the mouth if they could. They just would love it. Actually, we have another location where they do wrestling. We have a wrestling coach that heads up our CrossFit. So he brings in kids and he gets them fit. We have a big youth program. I think, yeah, understanding that each location will have its own community, its own vibe. I really walk that line I have to really watch it, because I want to walk in and I freak out if things just aren't perfect and exactly the way that, systemized and just standardized exactly the way I want them. So I have to fight that urge tremendously. But yeah, I think walking that fine line of standardizing your system and letting it kind of take its role with the people that are there and let them make it their own is a fine line we walk, and trying to figure out how to do that. I'm still trying to figure it out, but just don't be too rigid, but also try to keep it as unstressful for yourself as humanly possible.
I know you're trying to wrap us, but this is an area where I'm super passionate about, because we at one time, as this location had close to 500 members, thought we could replicate this exact gym at 20 to 30 locations throughout Florida. So that was our goal at one time. We had a blueprint for it, and we had a whole lot of money behind it. There were people that were willing to invest a lot of money in us to go do that. Because ultimately, there are nice margins in this business, and you can be very profitable and successful at a certain level. But what we've come to find out is that bigger just isn't always better. And just because you see in the industry other gym owners are perceptibly doing a great job growing many locations and, quote, thousands of members, I think you really need to fundamentally ask yourself why. And are you really willing to give up your life, like truly give up every hour of your day to make that place, that next place successful, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one? Because no business is passive, but this business is really, really tough. And we talked about competition. There's another concept coming in all the time. So not only do you need to be able to fundamentally drive great growth in business inside each of your locations, there's other people coming to take your lunch if you're not ready to do a better job than they are at every location you have. And the last point I would make is as you grow, remember that you're feeding your team members. Like, their families are reliant on you, their livelihoods relying on you to make good decisions. And that really is something that weighs on me heavily, is as we go to every new locations, again, we're up to 6, is that, you know, we've never missed payroll, but we've also had to make really tough decisions and close gyms down or sell them to ensure that they could either be successful or pull back to ensure that our other locations could continue to be successful. And those are hard decisions that I feel like I've consulted some gyms and they're just not ready to make those decisions, or they don't really have the money or the wherewithal to survive the really tough times that will happen.
Yeah, and I think those are all great points, especially about, you know, if you are feeling really confident and good and you're crushing it at one location, it's not, like you guys all said, it's not that easy. And really think through that second and third location. I also just noticed, like, Marty, Elizabeth, Brent, or Brent's never met either of you guys. It's your first time meeting, and there were a lot of similarities. And oh yeah, we went through that same thing too. And that's one of the main reasons we had this event, which was gym owners. You know, it can be somewhat of an isolated journey sometimes, even if you have a partner. But there are so many things you can learn from each other. And whether there's someone who's just thinking about starting a gym, they've been running a gym for a year, or maybe they even run a gym and have multiple locations. I think all of you guys shared some really awesome, useful insights for them and some advice for them. Big takeaways. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having me.